One of the most challenging roles for any leader is to lead other leaders. Leaders are expected to take initiative and to be self-starters. And the challenge for any leader of leaders is, at what point do you direct somebody who is largely going to default to being self-directed? The reality is that in order to earn the right or to have the currency with those that you're leading who are already leaders, you yourself have to lead well. You have to lead yourself well. So this is what I've noticed about really good leaders of leaders. Firstly, they have very regular routines. These leaders lead themselves first by doing things that need to be done, even though they may not want to do it. This is where routines are the leader's best friend. So leading yourself starts with having really good routines. Secondly, leaders are highly communicative. They regularly touch base with those they lead. This is actually a task that I've noticed of these leaders. It may look like they're being highly personable or even highly people-driven. The reality is, while it looks like that, they actually regard this as an essential task of their leadership. So routines, and then highly communicative. They do it through the various means of communications, and they tend to be intuitive about what is appropriate. So in some instances, email is appropriate. In other instances, a text message is appropriate. And in other instances, a phone call is appropriate. And then, of course, face-to-face is usually their choice, their first choice, if they can do that. And so those two things alone make a huge difference. The third thing I've noticed about really good leaders of leaders is that they have a very clear mission in mind. They understand where they're trying to go. So for them, while some people say the journey is just as important as the destination, these leaders understand the importance of the destination. And that gives those leaders that they are leading a sense that this is not a waste of time. This is actually something that is contributing to something. The other thing that I've noticed about really successful leaders of leaders is that they have this ability to identify the contribution that their leaders can make, and they have this almost intuitive sense of making a request or a demand of a leader that is something well within the ability and scope of that leader. So that in turn then gives that leader a sense that they can make a valuable contribution to the overall mission. So these are the things that enable people to lead leaders well. And it's one of the most frustrating things for a leader to be led by somebody who is disorganized, lacks self-discipline, and continually seems to be at a loss as to what they're trying to do or how they can get there. So these are the qualities. Someone is highly routinized, they have great self-discipline, they have an ability to communicate well and regularly and appropriately with those they lead, and they convey a very clear sense of this is what we're trying to do. And if you want to become a leader of leaders, it starts by becoming a leader. And many people are frustrated that they don't get leadership opportunities, and yet every person has the opportunity to lead themselves, to start by developing daily routines, non-negotiable routines. Every competent and strong leader sticks to their routines come hell or high water. They also begin to develop the art of communicating. Now, if you are someone who's starting out in leadership, I would suggest you start up communicating. Communicate with a leader and ask them, what is it that they think you can do to become a better leader? Even that channel of communication begins to develop in you the ability to communicate, an essential requirement for becoming a leader. And the next thing you can do if you want to start off on this journey of becoming a leader is hitch your wagon to somebody who has a clear mission, a clear vision, who has clear intentionality in what they're doing. And you begin to pick up on that. You begin to realize life can have focus. By doing those things, you can begin to develop yourself as a leader and eventually become a leader of leaders.